Hello and welcome. This is Christina Hills from the Website Creation Workshop, and welcome to this masterclass training on the 5 productivity tips to help you work faster and smarter online. And my name is Christina Hills. I am an international WordPress coach and teacher, and I've been teaching WordPress since 2008. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through the training. I'm going to do live demos in between the PowerPoint slides, and I'll take your questions at the end when we get to the Q&A, and then also at the end we will give out the link for the PDF tips download. So as I go through these trainings, you don't have to write down all these codes because you're gonna get it at the end. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right in with productivity tip number 1, which is use multiple browsers when you work. And some of these tips you're already going to know, and you're going to be like, I already know that, this is easy. And then there'll be some nuggets for everyone who doesn't know all these tips and tricks, and you'll be amazed how much faster you're going to work. So let's talk about using multiple browsers. All right, so first off, what is a browser? A browser is what connects you to the internet. So when you boot up your computer, you open up a browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, there's lots of different browsers, and that connects you to the internet. And both Macs and PCs, they all use browsers. In fact, all devices, that's how you connect to the internet, is you use a browser. Now, I didn't mention here, and I don't have a slide for this, if you're on your iPhone or Samsung or whatever Droid you're using, you might be using an app to connect to the internet. But we're talking about browsers. So apps kind of go in their own category. All right, so when you open up a browser, you use a browser to do a search. So Chrome is a browser, but Google is the search engine, and Bing is also a search engine. So you can use whatever browser you want and whatever search engine you want. Google is the most common. All right, so which browsers could you use? So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the different browsers. And in this slide, you can see there's Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and Opera. Not that many people use Opera. I've never used Opera. Edge used to be called Internet Explorer. I don't know why they changed the name of it, but I used to use it. I don't. I primarily use Chrome and Firefox. So here's my website in Chrome, and here's my site in Firefox. So it mostly looks the same. Here's my site in Safari. So if you're on a Mac, most Mac people use Safari. And these are just different screenshots. Here's my site in Microsoft Edge. So these are just different screenshots of what my website creation workshop website looks like in the different browsers. Why use multiple browsers? Like, why on your computer should you have multiple browsers? Some websites can look different in various browsers. Some websites can work better in a certain browser. So if you're building a website, like if you're in the website creation workshop, or if you took the website creation workshop, you want to always check your site in 2 different browsers. But what I want to talk about next in terms of why you want to have multiple browsers is you can have an admin view and a visitor view at the same time while building your website if your website is live and you want to put it under construction. So for example, I've got this site called buildyourpassion.com, and right now it has a coming soon up. Sometimes it's referred to as an under construction. And so if I don't want people to see my site while I'm building it, I can put up this coming soon. And then I can log into the back end. This is the login screen for WordPress. And that's what it looks like. And in this login screen, the image is showing, it's showing that the under construction is enabled to let me know this is what the public is going to see. Then I go ahead and I log in, and then I can view it in another browser in the back end. So what does that mean? That means you can have two different browsers going. One where you'll see, oh, this is what people are going to see when they're not logged in, because people wouldn't be logged in. So this is what the public will see. But while you're creating your site and you're logged in as an admin, you can see the inside of your site. So that is one of the benefits of having two different browsers, is you can look at one and then you can look at the other on the same time, at the same time. So if you don't have a second browser, you can download another one for free from the internet. So again, you pick whichever one you like to get a second browser. So if you don't have Chrome, you can go ahead and download it, and this is what it looks like. Or you can download Firefox, and they make it easy. Getfirefox.com. You can download Safari at Apple support. Don't worry about writing this down. Or Microsoft Edge, which is a really long URL for Microsoft Edge. And if you forget how to download it, just Google it. Like, that's why I went so quickly through those slides, because you don't need to write it down. Just go to Google, how to download Chrome, or how to download Chrome for a Mac, or how to download Safari for Windows. So just Google it. That's what I always do. And pick like one of the, pick the first result. All right, so I want to talk about private browsing, right? So I want to explain what private browsing is. It's called a private window. It's sometimes called incognito. So private browsing, private window, incognito. If you don't want to be bothered with downloading software, this is another way you can do it. And I'm just curious, I don't have a slide here for this. Type in the chat, are you familiar with private browsing, like incognito? Like, I didn't learn about it for many, many years. So, yeah, it looks like half of the people are saying yes and half of the people are saying no. So this is a way to get around having to bother to download another browser. So both Firefox and Chrome, and I didn't check Safari or Internet Explorer, have a way to create a private window. So if you're using Firefox, and I have two examples, in Firefox you go over to the three little lines at the side, or they might be dots, and you click on New Private Window, and when you do that, it will open up a window that looks like this. So what is a private window? A private window won't have any cookies, won't have any logins. It's as if like none of your saved preferences will show up in a private window, and it's an easy way to test things, to see how things are working. And because maybe you're logged in or whatever, this is what's good about a private window. Let me show on Chrome. Chrome refers to it as incognito. So three little dots and new incognito window. And then that opens up a browser that looks like this, that is incognito. So it's not going to save your browsing history or cookies or any information that you've typed in. So it's a nice way to look at a website and as a fresh new person. All right, so I'm going to get out of PowerPoint, and I'm going to demo multiple browsers, and I'll demo a private and incognito window. So let me get out of PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm in Chrome and I'm logged in, and if I want to bring up an incognito window, I click on the three little dots, new incognito window, and it hasn't remembered me at all. So that, and you can go to any website. Some people believe if you buy plane tickets in incognito, you'll get a cheaper price. I don't really think that's the case. So this is incognito for Chrome, and and I have this nice little circle so you can see where I'm going. Let me bring up Firefox. So I'm in Firefox and it sees me logged in, right, because I'm logged into my Gmail account. But on the upper right, if I click on New Private Window, now I have a private window. Joanna, why don't you read me Chris's question about use
Yes.
cases?
Yep. So Chris says, when or what use cases would benefit from incognito mode?
Yes, so let me go to Build Your Passion. Let's see if I'm logged in. Okay, so here, let me show this. So remember I talked about if you're logged in and you've got under construction on, you can see the website you're building. So here's a site I'm building called buildyourpassion.com. But if I want to see what the world will see, who's not going to be logged in, now in here, you see, I see what the public sees. So that is a reason to use it. So if you don't want to have two browsers, you can have one browser and you can be logged in working on your site, and then you can have another browser that shows you the outside. So I'll close this out. So let me new private window. So this is Firefox, and I'm going to talk about tabbed browsing. And here is Chrome. So that is a benefit of looking at, let's see how this looks in Firefox. So here's my tips webinar. It pretty much looks the same in two browsers. So I've I think I've explained the point on this. I want to keep going. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint file. Hold on. And let me from current slide. Okay. It gets a little choppy going in and out of PowerPoint, but I want to have the demo next to the slides so I could show you about multiple browsers and private incognito windows. All right, productivity tip number 2 is to use tabbed browsing. And I teach this a lot to my students, but every time I teach it, there's always somebody who's never heard of it. So let me just jump in. So the problem with multiple windows. So remember just a moment ago when I was demoing that, I had to keep moving all these multiple windows around and they were kind of getting on top of each other. Well, the solution is to learn tabbed browsing and start working with tabbed browsing. It makes things a lot easier. So by opening websites in a new tab, it lets you view sites still available in the same browser window. So you're just staying in one place, but you're switching between these little tabs at the top. And it enhances productivity greatly. I remember the first time I learned this, my husband showed me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was logging out, logging in, logging out, logging in to look at the outside and the inside, etc. So this is one of the things I teach in the website creation workshop, where I'm going to teach you how to build a WordPress site, is to use tab browsing when you're building. So that means in one tab, you've got the inside of WordPress, and then in another tab, you have the outside of WordPress. So in one little tab, you're making changes, and then you're looking at the outside. So it's really convenient when you're building sites. And here's some tabbed browsing shortcuts. So Control T will open a new tab. If you're on a Mac, it's Apple Command T with a little Apple Command symbol. And to close the tab, Control W or Apple Command W. And then I threw in this Control Z. This was Joanna's idea, which was a great idea because I just think, oh, everybody knows what Control Z is. Control Z is an undo. So if you make a mistake anywhere, if you hit your Control key on your keyboard and then the Z, you can undo it. So even in Microsoft Word, lots of different places. In PowerPoint, Control Z if you make a mistake. So most people probably already know that one. And then tabbed browsing gets even better. You can pin your tabs for faster efficiency. So let me explain what that is. So if you right-click on a tab and pin it, it will pin it to the left edge of your browser window. So here's an example. These are regular tabs, and then by pinning it, by right-clicking and pinning it, then they can stick to the left. So maybe you have your email on the left or your calendar on the left or Facebook on the left. It's very, very convenient. So let me jump in and demo tabbed browsing and pinned tabs. And remember, at the end when we get to the Q&A, we'll open it up for all kinds of questions. All right, so let me get out of this and let me open up a couple of other sites. Website creation workshop.com. And maybe I'll go to facebook.com. Groups. I'll go to my foundation group. So if I right click and pin, it moves it over here and makes it really tiny. So let me do that again. So I've got these tabs open. So I can click the plus, this is in Chrome, and get to a new tab. Right, so here I'm on Google. Or I can do Control T and get to a new tab. So you can go wherever you want on the internet and have these different tabs open. And so let's say you want to pin, maybe I want to pin Instagram to the left. I can right click and pin it, and now it comes up as a tiny tab. So this is a way to make your tabs more concise, and you can always find it because it's pinned. And Firefox will work the same way. Pin tab, it moves it to the site. And let's go here to the website creation workshop. And I'm logged in, so I see this top toolbar. Let me copy this. So copying this, if I opened a private window, now I'll see the site not logged in. See, and it didn't save any cookies, so I'm going to click accept all. So see, this is the not logged in, this is the logged in view. So that's just a little extra there, and again, right click, pin tab, it pins it to the end. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to show in that demo. Let me bring up, so I showed you tabbed browsing. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show with tab browsing. Hold on. So let me bring this back up. So Control W will close it. And most of the time I just click the X, but you can do Control W to close the tab. All right, let me get back to PowerPoint and from current slide. And let me ask you, am I going too fast? I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. Am I going too fast? Okay. Nope, people say it's just right. Okay, let me keep going. All right, productivity tip number 3 is bookmarking popular sites. And I just had to rebuild my computer. It completely broke. I had to rebuild it, and I rebuilt all my bookmarks. So if you're not bookmarking, this is probably going to be, I think, the best productivity tip. And this little image shows you the way you bookmark as you drag it to the toolbar, and I'll demo that. So bookmarks are also called favorites or shortcuts. It's a way to save your favorite or most frequently used websites in your browser for easy access. So it can be shown in the bookmarks toolbar or bookmarks menu section, allowing you to visit a site with a click instead of having to type the URL. And so this is the way you do it. When you go to a site, you click and drag, like right before the URL, you click and drag on to the toolbar area. And you can have many bookmarks. So this is a screenshot with my bookmarks from Chrome, and I have a lot of bookmarks. And often what I do is I make a shortcut. So like this is Facebook Messenger, this is Instagram, this is GoToWebinar, so that I can have a lot of bookmarks in one place. So I am going to demo bookmarks. Once you start using bookmarks, boy, your productivity is really going to speed up. All right, so let me get out of PowerPoint, minimize this. I'll bring up not the incognito window. I'll bring this up. So I'm in Chrome. Since a lot of people are using Chrome, I'll demo with Chrome, and then you get to see this little circle here. So first I want to show my bookmarks bar. So this is my bookmarks bar, and you can see I have room for a lot of other things up here. So let me go to New Tab. I have a program called the Graphics Creation Workshop. So this is one of my courses. If I wanted to bookmark this, I would click and drag it down to the toolbar. So this is in Chrome, so you need to be able to see the toolbar. So on the upper right, three dots, bookmarks and tabs, you want to make sure the bookmarks bar is showing. And then here are all my bookmarks listed here, but I like to have them up here. So if I didn't want this spelled out long, I can right click and edit the bookmark, and I can give it an abbreviated name because that's a long name. So GCW, Graphics Creation Workshop. So now I have a bookmark. So it's a good idea to bookmark like your own website or wherever you go often. So you boot up your computer, you're like, okay, I'm going to start my day. Where do you go? Do you go to your email? Do you go to your calendar? So as you can see, I have a bookmark for Google Calendar and my Gmail and other sites, and I still have more room here. Then this way, like I can go to the the website creation workshop, or I can click to the graphics creation workshop, or this new site that I'm building, Quest for the Divine. So now it gets me to my Quest for the Divine website. So, and I'll say okay to accept the cookies. And this is my passion project because I'm really into learning and understanding the divine. Who is the divine? What does that mean? And what are the different ways that different religions study and understand the divine? So, Sarah wants to know, is there a way to alphabetize or reorganize bookmarks? Yes, you can move them around. So, for example, you just click and drag and move your bookmark. Or I might want to put this at the end. So you can right click and you can edit a bookmark. So maybe I just want to call that WCW, WCW blog. Maybe I want to call it that. But you can click and drag and move it. And then when you get too many of them, you'll have um, here's the list. But eventually I'll probably fill this up and then I'll have more abbreviations. You can also have a folder. So I have a folder for my Facebook groups. I've got my club, and these are for people in the website creation workshop. Here's the foundation. And let me go to website marketing workshop. I hope that's the name. Yes. So this is for my intermediate WordPress class, and some of you here are in this program. So after the website creation workshop, some people move into my website marketing workshop. And let's say I wanted to move this into a folder. I click and drag, and when it hovers over, see how it's hovering over and changing color? That's moved it into the folder. So now all my Facebook groups are in one place, and then I can right click and edit this, and I'll just call it WMW for Website Marketing Workshop, and then that is a little shortcut. So you can do that. So how do you make a folder? You right click and you say add folder, and then that you can name it whatever you want, maybe my websites. So if you've got multiple websites, I could click and drag all my websites into the My Websites folder. So the great thing about bookmarks is you get to decide how you want to organize them, how you want to rearrange them. You know, you just click and drag and move it around, and it's the same for Firefox or Chrome. So what am I teaching? I'm teaching tabbed browsing. So let's say I want to go to yahoo.com, read the news or whatever. So tabbed browsing, you're opening up different tabs, and then bookmarks on your browser. This is the bookmarks bar, and if it's getting cluttered or you don't like it, you want to turn it off, you go to bookmarks and lists, hide bookmarks bar. And oh wait, I thought I did that. Let me try that again. Bookmarks and lists, show bookmarks bar, hide bookmarks bar. For some reason, for me, this doesn't work as well on Chrome as it does in Firefox. So I'm in Firefox, bookmarks, show bookmarks toolbar, and I can see all my bookmarks toolbar. And then I have one for Zoom. So if you do consultations with people, you might want your Zoom room in your bookmarks. But when I make videos so that it's not distracting, I turn off my bookmarks. Okay, I think I want to get back in here and slideshow. Okay, so that was my demo on bookmarks. Now I want to show you productivity tip number 4 is browser shortcuts. So browser shortcuts are keystrokes that you do to make things faster, such as finding, copying and pasting, zooming in and out. Most people already know copy and paste. Not everybody knows zooming. So Control F, I use this all the time, is if you want to find text on the screen. So maybe you're on a website and you're searching for something on that page. Control A will select everything in an area. Control C will copy text. Control V will paste text. And Control L will get to the address bar at the top. And this one, zooming in and out, is great, especially like if you don't have your glasses and you want to zoom in. Control plus will zoom in, Control minus will zoom out, and Control 0 will go back to the default size on your browser. Control T, as I mentioned before, opens a new tab. Control W closes a tab. You're going to get all this in the tips cheat sheet, which we'll give at the end. And then there's Control Z if you make a mistake, right? And I do Control Z all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are normal. It's just how do you undo it, and Control Z will help you undo it. So as I mentioned, you're going to get all this in the PDF tips sheet at the end. All right, so let me demo these browser shortcuts. So let's bring up Firefox. So I did Control T to open a new tab. Website creationworkshop.com, about us. I think I renamed that to About Christina Hills. Let's see if it can find us. No, About Christina Hills. So let's say you're on a web page and you want to find something. So let's say you want to find the word film. Control F, and Firefox opens it down here. Film. Ah, okay. Here is where film is listed on this page. So if you're trying to find something, this is not a Google search. If you're trying to find something within a page, you do Control F. Now, if I look at this in Firefox, and I can X out of it. So let's bring up Firefox. No, let's bring up Chrome. So I'll go to that web page. Same web page, different browser, because I'm not logged in here. If I click on my keyboard Control F or Apple Command F, Chrome puts it up top here, and I type the word film. And now it's showing me how many instances. I think Firefox did that too. Here's where the word film is on the page. So this is really useful, especially if you're building your website. If you're building your website yourself, and you might be looking over your copy and where did you type in, where do you have these instances. It's also helpful on other people's sites, and I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but if you're looking for something on a page, if I go to the FAQ, and let me just think of something. This is my FAQ for the course. So I can't think of something off the top of my head. This is not a very long FAQ. But if you're trying to find something on a page, Control F will search this page. So it's not a Google search. All right, then let's say you want to, I'll go back to my About page. If you want to zoom in, maybe the font's too small for you, Control plus. Control plus will zoom in. So now it's really giant. Control minus will zoom out. Right, so now this actually doesn't zoom out, but this is zooming out. And then if you've got it all messed up, Control 0 goes back to normal. So Control plus, Control minus, Control 0, it works on Firefox and it works in Chrome. Same thing, Control plus, Control minus, and then Control 0. So I'll do that. I'll be on a website. It's like, ah, I forgot my glasses. Control plus plus plus. Okay, now I can read it really easily. And then Control 0. All right, I think that's all. I know I can do more of these browser shortcuts. Oh, if you want to type something else in, Control A will copy that. If you're down here, Control L. Control L. No, wait, that's not quite working. Hold on. Control L. Control L gets you up to the top. All right, let me keep going because I don't want to run out of time. So let me get back to PowerPoint. And then as people have questions, then I can go back and do more demos. So that was demoing the browser shortcuts. Now I want to talk about productivity tip number 5 is using a password manager. If you could type in the chat, are you using a password manager? And maybe you don't know what it is, so I'll just keep talking, but this is going to really save you a ton of time. And here on the screen are just a few that I'm familiar with that keeps track of your password. Passwords are hard to remember, so you want to have a system and one of these free accounts to remember it for you. So a password manager is you open up an account on one of the ones I listed, and I think I list them again, and it'll safely store your passwords online so when you need them you can quickly get to them. And you don't want to rely on your browser. Some people say, oh, my browser remembers. Well, if your browser gets corrupted and you have to uninstall it or reinstall it or it updates or whatever, you can lose those password browser settings, right? Because the browser, if you say yes, it'll store your password. But it's not as safe as using one of these password managers. So what you want to do is, oh, let me go to the next screen. So these are some popular ones: Bitwarden, 1Password, Dashlane, LastPass. There's probably others. Just pick the one that you like, and there's probably other systems as well. I used to use another one. I can't remember what it was called, and it was stored on my computer, whereas these are storing them online. So here's an example. If you go to, once you have it set up and installed, I don't have to remember my password for American Airlines. The password manager will just fill it in. And what's great about a password manager is I use it on my iPhone, I use it on my laptop, I use it on my desktop. I can use it in multiple places. So someone's asking, how trustworthy are these? Well, nothing is ever 100% foolproof, but the amount of time it saves me is worth it. And if you want to be extra sure, just don't store your banking info, right? So anything that might have to do with money, don't store that. But, my American Airlines login, I'm fine with that. So I think they are totally, totally worth it. And, when I visit my mother and I keep trying to get her to get a password manager, it is so painful watching her type in a password. So, all right, I'm going to keep going and we'll take more questions at the end. So my last tip is using AI tools to simplify your life. And if you're like me, when you hear about AI, you just groan like, God, I don't want this in my life, right? But AI is here, and unfortunately, it's not going to go away. So at the beginning, I was really resisting it, and now I'm like, okay, it's not going away, so I might as well learn how to use it. And I'm going to show you some examples where it really simplifies your life. So the most popular one is ChatGPT by the company called AI. The easiest way to find it is just Google ChatGPT, and you can open up a free account or you can have a paid account. And I'll show you an example. So ChatGPT, which is always hard to say, this is what it looks like. Claude.ai is another one, and I have a free account. And you'll get slightly different results. Gemini is Google's, formerly called Bard, and you can use that one as well. It's really depends upon what you want to use. Then there's Grammarly.com, which is more for writing, like if you want it to help you with your writing. And they have a free version and also a paid version. But AI is still growing and changing, so don't spend a lot of money. So whatever you do, just don't spend a lot of money because I don't think you need it. And start out simple. So here's a simple example of what I did with ChatGPT. And you might be listening to me thinking, well, Christina, I'm already a whiz at ChatGPT, and you might already be a whiz. I'm trying to encourage people who've not started using it to start really simple. So my mom and I were talking about recipes because we both love to cook, and I jotted down, even with this typo, her recipe. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to have ChatGPT format that for me. So I said, turn this into a formatted recipe. And I wrote down my simple notes. And then this is what it came up with. So candied orange slices, it formatted it really nicely, and I put it on my Christina's Recipes website. So going from this to this was a big time saver. Like it put the steps in and it did the indenting and it made it really nice. So start simple. And here's some ideas of getting started simple. Rewriting emails to people. So maybe you get an email and someone inviting you to something and you don't want to think through a nice response. Say, can you read this email I got and write a nice response letting them know I can't come? Boy, that's a time saver. Or what can I make for dinner with chicken, broccoli, and rice? Like you look in your fridge, I've got these things. Hey, AI, what can I make with these ingredients? Or can you fix my grammar? Like you're typing and maybe like your grammar's sloppy or you got run-on sentences. Hey, can you fix this sentence? Or movie recommendations. I liked When Harry Met Sally. Do you have any similar movies you'd suggest? So, for those of you not using AI, get started with simple stuff and slowly but surely you'll get faster and faster at it. All right, so these were my 5 productivity tips. One is using multiple browsers or the incognito private browser. Use tabbed browsing. Bookmark your favorite websites. I think that's my biggest tip. That makes my life go the fastest. Memorizing keyboard shortcuts. Using a password manager. Actually, that's another big tip. And using AI tools to speed up your work. Now, my next free training is coming up in a couple of weeks, and this is going to be the preview of my website creation workshop. You can go to websitecreationclass.com/webinars. If you are listening to me and you're already in the program, you don't need to sign up for this. But if you don't have a WordPress site and you never took my online course, you're going to want to come to one of these sessions. The sessions will all be the same. It'll just be, the Q&A will be different. So, Joanna, can you put that link in the chat,
Yes.
websitecreationclass.com/webinars. So that is
Okay.
coming up. And then also, if you want to be on the general notification list for when we open the doors, websitecreationclass.com is the place to go. And here is the link for that tips PDF, websitecreationclass.com/tips-PDF. And Joanna, if you could put that in the chat as well, websitecreationclass.com/tips-PDF, and then you can go ahead and download that. And we'll also email it out to everyone who signed up for today's class. And this has been my 5 productivity tips for working faster and smarter online. This is Christina Hills. All right, I am ready to go to questions. All right, let's bring up questions. You should be able to see my screen. Let me get the question box up. So either questions here or questions here. And I know we had a bunch of questions that came in during the class. And I just want to mention the next webinars at websitecreationclass.com/webinars. Joanna, why don't we go to you and to questions? And probably they're going to be browser questions. So I will get my browser up while you.
Okay. Yes, we do have several questions about browsers and password systems. I think that's where most of the questions are. So Sky was
Okay.
asking, this was on using different browsers. After you download another browser, so now you have more than one browser downloaded on your computer, how do you switch back and forth between using different browsers?
Okay, let me bring up, hold on. Nope, not that one. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up Firefox. And let me go to, sorry, I have it off screen. Give me just 1 second. Where did it go? Ah, okay. So here is Firefox and here is Chrome. So lots of people have favorites, so you can bring up 2 and kind of change your browser, drag it around and have them side by side. Typically what I do is I minimize it, or so this is Chrome, and I would minimize Chrome and then I would bring up Firefox. So I'm logged in to websitecreationworkshop.com here in Firefox. Remember, I was showing that before, and here I'm not logged in. So logged in, I'm talking about WordPress because I teach WordPress, and my summer website creation workshop is coming next month in June. So you'll want to watch your email for that. So usually they're down here on my tray. And if you're on a Mac, sometimes the tray is on the right side. And let me also, let's go to that tips. Hold on, let me bring up that tips PDF. So this tips PDF, on it has listed the Mac version. So when you hear me say, or anybody say Control F On a Mac, it's Apple Command F. Control A, Apple Command A. Copy and paste, Control C, Apple Command C. So they got it together to match it. So it doesn't matter if you hear me say Control, just know if you're on a Mac, it's Apple Command. And Safari should be very similar. I don't have Safari on my computer, so I can't demo Safari. Most people I know on Macs have Chrome as well. So if you're a Mac person, it's a good idea to, let's go to Google. How do I download Chrome on my Mac? So just Google it and you'll get step-by-step instructions. So download and install Chrome.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Janet was asking about, using Chrome, because she's on a Mac and she has Safari. So she's wondering if she should get Chrome.
I think it's a good idea to have Chrome as well as Safari. Sometimes I'm trying to log into my airlines and it's not working in one browser, so I use another one. And
okay.
So for people, I know we have some students here who are in the website creation workshop. If you've never taken the website creation workshop, which is my full course, you'll want to come to one of these, websitecreationclass.com/the webinars or webinars, and pick one of these. That'll be in June. I'll send an email out about it, but you might as well sign up now. Okay, Joanna, back to you. Oops, I didn't mean to close that.
Okay. Jackie says, so you had mentioned in the presentation that you recently had to reset up your bookmarks and everything on your computer. And Jackie was wondering, is there a way that you can get all of your bookmarks back? Because she said she works with thousands of bookmarks.
Yeah, so let me turn on, so I'm in Chrome, and you know what? I have a poll to find out which browser do you use the most? Okay, so let me launch this poll. Which browser do you use the most? Which browser do you use the most? Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, or something else? I'm just really curious. Firefox has a feature I really, really like. So I use Firefox a lot, but I also use Chrome a lot. So if you could just type in which you use. So while people are typing that in, I'm going to read Sky's question. Can you put different browsers on a tablet? I believe you can, Sky. I don't use, I have a tablet. I don't use it very much. I probably should, but I believe you can download different browsers to your tablet. And Pauline is correct. Many companies don't function well on Firefox. So you got to use Chrome. Yeah, Firefox is not that popular. Chrome is much more popular. So often I have to use Chrome. And okay, so about half of you voted. Just click on the poll. But
Now,
I think, oh, go ahead.
oh, Lisa was asking, since you're on the topic of Firefox, what feature do you like in Firefox that makes you want to use it?
Yeah, let me show that. I'm going to close the poll and share the results. So the majority here are using Chrome with Firefox, Safari, and Microsoft Edge kind of split. Now, I didn't take this poll. Do you have a website already? Do you have a website already? And if you are currently in the website creation workshop, just answer yes, you have a website because you're building it. So for those of you who are not familiar with the website creation workshop, I open enrollment a few times a year. I'm going to open it again in June for the summer class. And so I invite past students to come to this free call as well. So if you could just click to vote. Lisa McCann, I think I downloaded Brave once, but I'm just more in the habit of using Chrome and Firefox. So when I'm done with this poll, I'll show the thing I like about Firefox. Why don't you read what Pauline just wrote in?
Yes, Pauline says the website creation workshop is fantastic, very clear direction and guidance, which anyone can do. Thanks,
Yeah,
Pauline.
so thank you, Pauline. I've been teaching the website creation workshop for 18 years, so a long time. So you know the program works because I wouldn't keep teaching it if it didn't. All right, half of you have voted, so I'm just going to close this poll and share the results. So we have some people with a site but not WordPress, 35% have a WordPress site, some have a site but are not sure what it is, and 42% don't have a website yet. So you will want to come when enrollment opens, and website creationclass.com. This is the early notification if you want, and we call it the summer camp. Okay, let me put this in. All right, Joanna, I know it's the top of the hour, but I'm planning on continuing to go and answer questions.
Okay, sounds great. And Lisa also said, I can't recommend the website creation workshop higher. It's such a blessing, and Christina gives us so much.
Thank you,
Lisa.
Lisa and Pauline. All right.
Okay, so
I was going to show what I liked about
the feature you like in Firefox, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to use everything in when you learn a tool, you don't have to use everything. So what I like about it is I like being able to right click and take a screenshot. So we teach our students, like if you're having trouble with something, send us a screenshot. And I have a blog post on screenshots. And you know, Mac has a way to take a screenshot. So here's a how to take a screenshot on your computer. So on Firefox, do I have that in here? Yeah, how to take a screenshot with Firefox. So I have a little video in here. I'll put this in the chat so everybody can see it. You can just come to my blog and on the search bar type in screenshot. So if you right click, take screenshot, I think this is built in, and then I can like take a screenshot of something and I can copy it or download it. So hit escape. Okay, let me, Joanne, I'm going to let you lead with the questions because I know a lot of
Yes.
people had questions.
Let's jump over to questions about the password management systems, and then
Okay.
I know we have more questions about browsers. So Pauline was asking, how do you know which company one can trust?
So the thing about password managers is nothing is ever foolproof, but if it makes your life go that much faster, it's worth the risk. So in terms of most trustworthy, I would probably say Bitwarden, because every time I talk to WordPress geeks, they tell me Bitwarden is the safest. I got started with LastPass. My whole team is on LastPass. We're not going to change, so we're staying with LastPass. The thing about all of these is you have to have a master password. So your password manager is not going to memorize your master password. So that you should write down and save it somewhere so that you don't forget your master password. And somebody asked, well, what if you die? How's your spouse going to get in? Give your spouse your master password. So I have a master password for LastPass, and it's long and cryptic, but that's the only thing I memorize. So, um,
And Christina, if I could add on to that as well, that, maybe don't put your banking information inside your password management
exactly.
system. Maybe keep
If
that
you're worried,
separate.
yeah. So so what's great about, and you can see my screen. I'm pretty sure you can see my screen. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
when I log in, the password manager will ask me, do you want to save this password? So if you're worried about your banking, then don't save that in your password manager. But with everything needing long cryptic passwords, like I just start to type this in and then it fills it in for me. So that really makes it work well. I'm not familiar, Lisa, with Keeper. So yeah, you can have family plans. And I pay for the version of LastPass that will work with my iPhone as well. So I can work with my iPhone. So anyway, if you've got more questions about these password managers, just go to the site and see what they offer.
So I think you answered this, Jean Paul. You said Bitwarden would be the one that people say.
If I were to start new, I would probably pick Bitwarden because
Okay.
that's what my WordPress tech friends say is the better one.
Okay.
So,
So that was for Jean Paul.
but
The other
anyway,
one
again,
is,
let me just
oh,
say this. It saves you so much time. It's really worth it.
yes.
And when it comes to a WordPress website, there's no banking info in here, so I'm not that worried about it. But even with a password manager, you shouldn't have love123 as your password.
Right. And there's no point. You may as well go with the strongest you can because you have
Exactly.
the password
Exactly.
management system. Okay. Jean-Paul says, thank you for the recommendation. So one last question that I'm seeing here on password management is, well, maybe two. Um, if something happens to the password management system and it gets hacked or something, what happens? Like, does somebody automatically get all of your passwords, or is there like some, security precaution in place, or how does
Um,
that happen?
I if something happens and they send you an email saying that they were compromised, you can then go in and change all your passwords.
Hmm.
The I don't know. I take the approach of the likelihood is low, but if you want
Okay.
to be really safe, periodically change your password. So where's the airline?
Or
So I
even just
could
changing the master password, once a
or
month or
change your
something.
master password. Yeah.
Yes.
But you can go in to like American Airlines or whatever, log in, change my password, update it in LastPass, so you can periodically do that.
Yes. Okay. And then Lisa says, so when you use a password management system, do you know all of the passwords, or does the system generate them for you and you don't even know what they are?
Well, you know what the password is because you can view
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
and there's password generators. So sometimes I go to, if I need to come up with a password, I go to strong password generator. I just type that into Google and then there's a sponsored result. You can pick these. Here's a password. So refresh password. And sometimes I don't like to take exactly what they gave me, so I might add a number to the end of it. Anyway, let's move on from password managers because I think bookmarks and tabbed browsing is much more useful.
Okay. Sky is asking, how would you remove a bookmark from the bookmark bar if you decided you didn't want it there anymore?
Okay, so let me go to Quest for the Divine, which is one of my websites. and let's say I dragged it onto the toolbar. Now the star shows that I've already got it on the book on my toolbar. Let me see, do I have, oh, I think I put, yeah, a whole bunch of my sites in here. So if you drag it down, right, so I've dragged it down, and if I decide I don't want it anymore, I can right click and click on delete bookmark. So that just deleted it. So, everybody's talking about AI and productivity, and AI was in my presentation. But besides AI, you need to navigate around the internet. So getting comfortable with tabbed browsing. And, I used to have this set to go to Google when I opened a new tab, but I can just type google.com. Getting comfortable with using tabbed browsing is going to make your life work faster. And for those of you in the website creation workshop, bookmark your student project. And those of you who are not in it, on that next webinar, I'll teach you about the student project, but bookmark it so that it's fast to get to.
Okay. Now Anita is asking, how do we change the order of the bookmarks on the bookmarks bar? She says how to choose which ones show up first. She has about 62 bookmarks and only the first 20 or so show.
Okay, so what I do is I drag them around. So like this is for Aweber. I'm going to edit this and I'm just going to type AW so I have more space. So this one's for Zoom. That's why I have, sometimes 2 letters for something, but you can click and drag it. And then the extra ones are down here.
So can you click and drag from the extra ones if you want them at the beginning?
I think so. Yeah. Add
Okay,
event. Yeah. But if you
sounds
add
good.
too many, like I could put Google, I can drag. I don't want that extra thing. Oh, I guess it puts it up. So someone had asked, I can drag this down or I can click the star. That'll bookmark it. So I'm in Chrome now. So if I click star, it's going to then add a bookmark. So in some ways, this might be easier. And then it wants to know, do I want to put it in one of my folders or on the bookmarks toolbar? And I'll click save. And it probably put it down here. So this is the overflow. So that's why you want to see if I move this up here. See, Google takes up a lot of space. So I abbreviate it by editing my bookmark. And again, if you don't want it, you click delete bookmark. So in terms of organizing your bookmarks, I drag and drop. So there's probably a way to reorganize them, but that's what I do. I drag and drop them.
Okay.
Now, if you get too many, like for Facebook, these are all the different places on Facebook that I go. So I made a folder for Facebook. So I have my different groups that I'm in and then my personal profile. And I just added this today to advertise my summer class for the website creation workshop. Anyway, Joanna, back
Could
to you because I know you're seeing these
Yes. Could
questions.
you show real quick how you create a folder?
Yes, so I come up to the toolbar and I right click and I click add folder. So
Okay.
wherever you're going often so I could put, airlines and then so where did that go? Went down here because I have too many. So I have a folder for my social media accounts. And so X, I forgot, Threads, Pinterest, Substack. So this is kind of convenient. Now, I did want to mention, because it's not in today's presentation, there's a thing called a browser extension. So I have a couple of articles on browser extensions. So I'm going to put that.
Yes, on that, Smara was saying Go Full Page is a browser extension for Chrome that can do screenshots. It's different from Firefox. I use it personally and it's great. But
All
if
right,
you are
let's
using
ask
Chrome,
people. Wait, first off, I want to take this poll. Do you currently use bookmarks, like before this class? Do you currently use bookmarks? Yes or no? If you start using bookmarks, even forget about the tabbed browsing. I think the bookmarks is the #1 time saver, and then tab browsing would be #2. All right, so do you use bookmarks? So, and Pauline says, yes, but I didn't realize I could have them showing on screen. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. Share the results. Okay, awesome. A bunch of people already were using bookmarks. I can hide my bookmarks. So I'm in Chrome. I'm clicking on the 3 tabs and I go to bookmarks and I could hide my bookmarks bar. So now that is hidden. And then I can come to bookmarks and show bookmarks bar. And then I actually never use search bookmarks. So you could search for your bookmarks, Quest for the Divine. That's not something I do. Anyway, I want to stress for everybody, when it comes to learning new tech tools, you don't have to learn everything. Like, you don't have to have this all memorized. The Control Plus, remember that's to zoom in. So if you ever go to a website and the text is too tiny, just do Control Plus, or Control minus will zoom out, and then Control 0. And that's in the tips. It should be in here. Zoom in, yeah, Control Plus or Apple Command Plus, Control minus or Apple Command minus. So you don't have to worry if like you can't like read something, just Control Plus and you can zoom in. Okay.
so Anita and Jean are both asking about tab groups. So Jean says Firefox now has the ability to group tabs. Why do I want to do this? And then Anita is wondering if tab groups is the same thing as a file for tabs.
All right, let me bring
Because
up
she's
Firefox.
in Firefox,
I
she
don't
said she's not seeing a way to add a file.
I don't use tabbed groups. I think if you right click mute tab, not sure what that does. Pin tab will put it over at the side and then you can unpin the tab. But right click, add to tab group, new group, Facebook. You know, everybody has to decide how you're going to want to use it. I find for my brain, find your tab groups on the list all tabs menu. I personally find bookmarks with folders easier for me than a tabbed group.
So
Add
Jackie
to
says
tab
tab
group.
groups are active open tabs, whereas folders are for bookmarking.
Yeah, so again, this is a tool that I don't use. So
Okay.
if you want to use it, use it. Everybody has to find, I'm going to click ungroup tabs. Everyone has to find what's going to work for you and your brain. For my brain, I'd rather have the folders because I can close this and I can then bring it back up again. And my my bookmarks are here. Whereas I think
Okay.
if you have tab groups, I think they disappear.
It sounds like it, yeah, because tab groups are for the actual tabs themselves, and then bookmarks are use folders. So
Right.
could you review on Chrome how to make a folder?
Okay, I think I did that, but I'll do it again. So, okay, this is Firefox,
Yeah,
and
and Jean
here's
says
Chrome.
she just didn't understand what it was or if she even wanted to use tab groups. So thank you for showing that.
Yeah, it doesn't work for my brain, but if it works for your brain, great. For me, folders work better. So, and again, folders are part of the browser, tabbing is part of the browser. So right now I have my bookmarks hidden. So if I
And
click
you're
on
on
the,
Chrome, is that right?
yes, I'm on Chrome. So I'm on Chrome, my bookmarks are hidden. I normally have them on, so I'm going to click on the three dots, come to bookmarks and list, and click show bookmarks bar. So my bookmarks are personal to me. So when I make a video, I turn it off because you don't need to see the clutter. So here are my bookmarks. Up above, these are my browser extensions, but we're not talking about that today. So if you want to make a new folder, you hover over here and you right click and you click on add folder. So you can add a folder and you can name it whatever you want to call it. So just however you want to group things. So maybe, social media. So now I have a folder for social media and it's empty. So I could go to Facebook, book.com/Christina Hills. That's my personal profile. And I can click this little star to add it, or I could click and drag it, whatever works better for you. And now it's in here in my social media folder. And if I decide to go to Instagram, oh, I'm not logged in. Okay, I don't want to bother with logging in. But let's say I was logged in, I could click the star and then it can ask me which folder do I want to put it in. I'll say done. So now I have Facebook and Instagram. So that's the nice thing about folders. Like here's all of my students who are in the website creation workshop. Here's one of them, Lydia Gracing. She just went live. She just got her site live. This is her practice site, but I wanted to show that off. Yeah, bookmarking will save so much time because some people are like, I can't remember where my website is at. Well, you just go to your bookmark and then you don't have to remember. All right, what other questions do we have? I think we'll go to the bottom of the hour, Joanna.
Okay, that sounds great.
But we'll see. It depends how many questions we have left.
So Jackie says, Firefox doesn't allow you to find the folder a bookmark page is in, but did I hear that there is an add-on to allow you to do that?
Well, I have folders. So what is the question?
Yeah, she said Firefox doesn't allow you to find the folder a bookmarked page is in, but did I hear that there is an add-on to allow you to do that?
Well, wait a minute. If I'm in Firefox, if I do bookmarks, there's a search bookmarks. So you can search for things, Instagram.
And then does it tell you, so it doesn't tell you what, does it tell you the folder it's in? Can't.
No, it doesn't look like it told me the folder.
Okay.
So
So Jackie, I guess we're not sure about an add-on. We don't use that, but
yeah,
that
we
there
don't use
very well
that.
may be one.
Right.
Okay. And then I think you kind of answered this earlier. Jackie was asking why you drag things to bookmark them and not just hit the star. It's just two different ways
No
of doing it.
reason, just habit. I think the star's actually easier. It's
I
just a
think the
habit.
star came later too. I don't think it
Probably.
initially
I
was
think
there.
yeah, I learned one method, but the stars, it seems like it's actually later.
Yes. And then when would you use pinned tabs instead of bookmarks?
So bookmarks go on this, I'm just going to bring this up. So bookmarks go on this bar up here. Here's all my bookmarks. A pinned tab, like if I wanted to pin this, I right click and I pin it. That's if I'm going to spend the day going to Facebook a lot, or if I'm going to spend the day going to the website creation workshop a lot, maybe I would pin it and see how it makes these sort of tiny little tabs and it sticks them to the end. So that's more if you are going to have a lot of browser tabs up here. See, like as I add more and more and more browser tabs, see it starts to get really, really crowded. And then see when it gets too crowded, now I have to click this arrow thing. And by pinning it, it sticks it on the side and then it uses kind of less real estate.
Okay. And then Jackie was just saying on a Mac, if you press F3, it will put different open docs or windows into different windows. So I guess that's just a shortcut you
F3.
can use.
Yeah. I don't use all the shortcuts that are available. I just don't bother. But you can. There's a lot you can do.
Right.
So
Find the
don't
ones that work for
don't.
you.
Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, find the ones that work for you or things that you are constantly doing all the time, then
Right.
maybe find a shortcut for that. Like
Right.
finding something on a web page is
Right. Right.
really
Like
common.
let me okay, let me heart math. Okay, so I'm on her site and I'm doing Control F, heart math. Oh, HEA, heart math. Okay, so now if you can see it's a little tiny, it's showing up twice on her site. So she does heart math. Let me do that again. Control F, heart math. And I can just see on the page where it's mentioned. That's Control F.
Okay, and then the last question we have here, because I know we're almost out of time. When you have a lot of tabs open, does your computer run slower?
I think it does.
Okay.
I've never done timing tests, but I think it runs slower.
Yes, it probably
That's
depends
why,
on the computer as well and
yeah,
what's
that's why
kind
if
it
you
is.
have bookmarks, then you can easily come back to them and it's not taking up
Yes,
space. And
exactly.
then someone had asked about how you back it all up. I don't know if I've actually bothered with that, but there is a way to export all your bookmarks. I just haven't bothered to learn that. You have to pick and choose what you're going to bother to learn. You know, don't think you have to learn everything. For those of you who've never been through the website creation workshop, you're going to want to come to this free training. Let me point out, so it's June 10th, 11th, and 12th. It will be the same content, just the Q&A will be different depending upon who shows up. All right. I think we're good.
Okay.
We're at the
All
bottom
right.
of the hour.
There was one other comment I wanted to read real quick from
Okay.
Amy. Amy said, Christina is hands-on and her staff is fantastic too. They really want you to succeed. So thanks, Amy,
All right.
for
Awesome.
sharing
Awesome.
that.
And yes, make sure you get your tips PDF. I think we'll email that out. So
Yes.
just watch your email and just type in the chat, which productivity tip did you like the best? Which one did you like the best? Oh, I didn't take this AI. I'm going to launch this AI one. I know I'm getting more and more requests to teach AIs, and I should have taken this poll earlier. If you're using AI, which tool do you use the most? Free ChatGPT, paid ChatGPT, Claude, Google's Gemini, or something else? Yes, Smara says keeping multiple tabs open will slow your computer down. All right, Lisa says pin tabs. She didn't know about that. Pauline liked the bookmark tips, tabs and browsers. So I think I'm just looking at the comments. Bookmarking. I stayed on the free ChatGPT for a while until there was something that I wanted. And yeah, I do a lot with ChatGPT and images. All right, shortcuts. Yeah, shortcuts are good. All right, I think I'll close this poll. So it looks like most people are using the free version of ChatGPT, and then some are using Claude and Gemini. All right, yeah, Claude is supposed to be better than ChatGPT, but ChatGPT can do images, so I like that. Anyway, if we get enough of requests to do a mini AI training, I would love to do that. All right, Joanna, I think we're good here. Let's end this. And
Yes.
again, my name is Christina Hills. You've been here for the 5 productivity tips for working faster and smarter online, plus a little bit of that AI tips. And we will get this replay out to everybody, so just watch your email. And if you've never taken the website creation workshop, come to this free training. We'll probably put that in the email as well. Thank you to Joanna and everybody else on my team, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.